Antarctica's kid-friendly.
It's like so kid-friendly. It's like, seriously, it's penguins and whales and belly sliding down hills, and it was magical.
Welcome to Travel Matters, the official podcast of TBEX. Here are your hosts, the radio vagabond, Babbo, and TBEX CEO, Rick Calvert.
Welcome to Travel Matters. My name is Babbo, and beside me is, as always, Rick Calvert.
Hey, Pale.
How are you?
I'm very good. More than that, we've got a guest that I've been chasing for a while. He's been to TBEX many times. Eric Stoen, Travel Babbo, Babbo.
Babbo, yes.
Babbo, Travel Babbo.
Where does that come from, Babbo?
It comes from Italy. Babbo is dad in Italian. It's also idiot in Italian, depending on what part of Italy you're in. But we've been to northern Italy so many times, and most kids just call their dad's Babbo over there.
Okay.
And Santa Claus in Italy is Babbo Natale.
So that's more charming than my name in Italy, because che palle. That's that means, oh, that's so boring. I'm not even going to say what palle really means in Italian, because Google it.
And now it's time for Creator of the Month.
Eric, you are a travel blogger, and you've been to exactly the same number of TBEXs as I have.
9,
yeah. And just when you sat down, Rick said that him and Shane have been chasing you to try to become a speaker because you have so much to share. But you said, no, I'd much rather be a consumer.
Correct. I am perfect. I've had a lot of luck in my blogging career. I feel like at this point, I have a lot to learn from those that are here speaking. I don't feel like I could teach luck.
Oh, I think you're being modest.
Maybe, but I feel like it's a little bit disingenuous for me to get up in front of an audience and say, if you do these 10 things, you're going to be more successful, because that's what worked for me. But everyone here is different, and so I've never been comfortable telling people, what worked for me and what they should try to do, because, maybe it's not going to work for them.
It's a really good point, Eric. That's one of the things that we try to teach people here. There is no one right way to do this thing. There are so many different ways to monetize your blog or your social media or influencer content marketing, whatever it is that you do. There's so many different ways to do it. And I've seen numerous people be very, very successful doing it completely differently from anybody else. So when you hear people talking here, you're like, yeah, maybe that'll work for me. Maybe it won't,
Fair enough. Yeah. But agree.
So let's talk about your blog. How long have you been doing this?
I have been doing this. I quit my healthcare job of 18 years back in 2014. So just over 9 years since I started my website.
And did you start traveling first and then the blog came later, or did they happen at the same time?
No, I've always traveled ever since studying in Italy in college. My wife has always traveled. When we had kids, we just kept traveling. It wasn't a conversation. Like, we simply kept booking flights and going places with the kids at 6 months old, 9 months old, whatever. And they got used to it and have seen the world. So no, and I was always posting on Facebook, little snapshots from our trips or whatever, maybe trying to influence my friends or family. And it was in 2014 when I took my daughter to Antarctica, my 8-year-old.
As one does.
One doesn't. And so, given that I did, and it was so kid-friendly, it was this winter wonderland.
Antarctica's kid-friendly.
It's like so kid-friendly. It's like, seriously, it's penguins and whales and belly sliding down hills and hiking with it was magical. It's literally, and it's not cold. Like I grew up in Colorado, where it's a heck of a lot colder than Antarctica in the summer, where it's 30 degrees or whatever, barely below freezing. And so I took my daughter to Antarctica, and I was like, I want to tell more people about this than just the people that I'm connected to on Facebook. And so that is when I started my website, or it probably wasn't even my own website. It was probably some blogging platform that I wrote that up. It was my first blog post ever, and it was just totally coincidentally, right before I quit my healthcare job and didn't know what I was going to be doing for my next career, and just kind of kept blogging in the meantime.
I'm out of a job. I might as well do this now.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Wendy Perrin, but she's old school Condé Nast Traveler writer for going back decades, and I had met her the year before. And I visited the Condé Nast Traveler offices, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is so much sexier than healthcare. Like I'd love to do something like this. And so everything just kind of conspired over a year or two to make me think, okay, I'm going to quit healthcare at least. So then it's like, well, Wendy pointed me to some travel blogs that she followed, and I looked them up, and I was like, well, I've been to more places with my kids than these people have, and I take better pictures than these people do. Like, I could actually start doing this. So I actually got my domain name, started looking into trips. I booked a couple of trips with Afar magazine, where they were just normal subscribers could go along with their founders and editors, and I loved the travel community that I was finding through them. People have been telling me for years, just as a travel lover, to go to ITB in Berlin. So I booked that in 2015 for the first time. A month later, I was at TBEX Costa Brava, which was my first conference.
That was a good one.
At both of those, I walked into rooms knowing nobody. I was absolutely brand new. But you start talking to one person, and then you see that person again the next day, and they drag you into their conversation, and you meet two more people. And after my 8th TBEX or whatever, I would probably know half the people in a room when I would walk in.
Right.
And it was really cool. And compared to healthcare, 18 years in healthcare, and there wasn't anyone that I clicked with at a conference or anyone that I cared about ever tracking down or being friends with. And the travel community, as you know, is like magical. It's the coolest people, all of whom have kind of a similar worldview. And I love these people. And that's one of the reasons I came here to Kalamata, was just to reconnect with some of my travel friends and maybe meet a few new people and to see a different part of Greece. But yeah, so I've kept going for 9 years now. But yeah, kind of started accidentally just because I was documenting my travels with my kids.
So you did have an intent for it to be a business when you started the website?
No.
Okay.
It was Gary Arndt's talk in Costa Brava, which was probably the first thing that I went to. And I was taking note after note because I didn't know anything. And his main point was say no to everything. And I had just started Instagram a few months before, and some company had sent me free shoes, and so I was having to document them there in Costa Brava. And Gary, really, literally, and figuratively spoke to me, and I was like, "Why did I accept these shoes?" It's like because it was cool getting free shoes, but I didn't need these, and now I have to generate content. Like, this was stupid. And so Gary's whole thing was, say no to everything until you start getting amazing things, and don't cheapen yourself in the meantime. And so I did. I said no to literally everything. Freebies, free trips that wouldn't do me any good to accept because that doesn't generate revenue and it doesn't necessarily further my brand. And did that for a couple of years, maybe a year and a half, until MasterCard called and said that they would pay us a whole bunch of money to go to Hawaii, just me with a couple of kids. I was like, yes, okay, I'll say yes to you. And it took off from there. But no, I kind of came out of Costa Brava with a business plan, and I would say that in quotes. I knew what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do, and how I wanted to make money and how I didn't want to make money, and decided then I didn't really want a website with ads. I wanted to keep my website inspirational forever, and ad-free forever, which I still am. Maybe at some point I'll turn them on and get the easy money when I retire or something. But at this point, I determined that it's a lot more fun to do the paid travel campaigns with brands and to go out there. And I never thought of myself as into marketing or creative. And I love sitting down with brands and brainstorming marketing campaigns and what can I do for them to bring them business.
Do you do any affiliate marketing at all?
Very little. Some bloggers over the years have sat me down and basically slapped my hands and said it's stupid for me if I'm linking to all these hotels on my website not to be getting affiliate payments.
Yes.
And so I have reluctantly over the years added that stuff in. I am not impressed by the amount of money I've made, but there is a certain sponsor here that I'm excited to switch over to and see if I can.
I've got an idea of who that might be.
Yeah, Stay 22. They've been after me for years, and I've said no to them every time. And I just had an amazing talk with them.
They have in the last year, the buzz about them with bloggers here at TBEX has just exploded.
I have heard enough people here say that they wish that they had switched earlier.
Yeah.
And given that they have a system of changing all of my links at once without me having to go through hundreds of links that aren't really generating much revenue. So that was a very enjoyable talk here.
Yeah.
What's your travel style? How do you travel?
Travel style is either with all three of my kids and my wife, or just one-on-one with my kids. We want to travel local. We aren't into big chain hotels with lots of swimming pools. We're not into being around a lot of people. We would much rather find the little boutique-y independent hotels around the world where you're sitting and talking with the owner for an hour over breakfast, and they're giving you all of their favorite things, and then you're going around their island or that village trying out their favorite things, and you're seeing why it's magical, and it's not based on a blog that I'm reading, and it's not, I don't know. We like talking to front desk people. We like talking to Uber drivers or whatever, and finding out what do they do with their kids? What is their favorite restaurants? Not where they send tourists. What do they like? And so that is our style. And at this point, maybe that's cliched, but yeah, we don't want to be surrounded by a whole ton of other vacationers.
Yeah, you definitely represent a specific type of traveler. I love that you're so adamant about just doing what you want to do. And the people who come to your site, obviously, they feel the same way. They want to do what you do, and you represent them. And that's the reason that you're successful, Eric. And yes, you could give a great talk at TBEX if you couldn't tell from him on the podcast.
I'm going to stand next to you at the bar at some point. So
I am happy to talk at every TBEX to as I have learned what works for me and gotten a lot of insight in this industry. I am absolutely happy one-on-one to meet with anyone here, to have lunches with people, to absolutely give them all of my knowledge. I just really enjoy doing that individually rather than in front of a room full of people.
You said before we started, because again, you've been to a bunch of TBEXs, but that you were surprised at, I guess, quality of sessions or just stuff that happened at this TBEX in particular.
TBEX has evolved over the years. It definitely has, and I've seen that without ever having talked to you directly about it. And I think even my wife has noticed, who's never come with me to one of them. But when I would post pictures on Facebook from Costa Brava, it was me with a whole bunch of 25-year-old cute female travel bloggers who all had the new travel blog on the hostels of Thailand. And not to put that down, but a lot of them aren't here anymore. And I think the people that are here are now the people that found their unique voices, that figured out their audience based on what we were just talking about, how they like to travel. And they're still in it, and they've monetized in a whole bunch of different ways. But the age range here is a lot older.
Definitely gotten older.
Which is not a negative at all, because everyone here is that much more knowledgeable. You're having conversations with people that you really respect based on what they've done. I was just walking to lunch and happened to start talking to Paul Johnson on the way, and he was one of the very first people that I ever followed, and I didn't even realize who it was when I was talking to him all the way in, and I was like, holy crap.
We've been chasing him for years, Eric.
Well, yeah, no, he's one of the OG guys, and it was wonderful just talking to him and everything else without trying. And so yeah, and likewise, what
and I think another great point you just made, intentionally or unintentionally, was that he was just a peer. And even though he was a rock star to you, I had this experience at the NAMM show. I'm a guitar player, and you go to the NAMM show, it's all rock stars playing musical gear. But they're not rock stars. They're just another guitar player or another drummer. And so we talk about guitar strings, guitar picks, and, oh, we like this new guitar. It's not like, oh my God, you're Ace Frehley from Kiss. It's not like that. You know? So you can have that experience with your peer and talk about how you love travel. And maybe something comes up and here's a business opportunity, or here's a thing you could do better. It's just organic that way.
Absolutely. So yeah, in addition to the older, more experienced bloggers here, I think, I guess in concert with that, it's that every session I've gone to has really impressed me and given me so many things that I could do to work on my website if I go back and I'm still as motivated as I am right this second. But I wasn't expecting that. I thought I was just going to go to a bunch of sessions just to support my friends. And every one of them, I'm like, holy crap, I should totally do that. My website would look a lot better if I did that. And why didn't I do that? And they just sent a newsletter for the first time in 2 years. And all of this motivation that's come out of it that I totally wasn't expecting. And just talking to Shane about the sessions here compared to the upcoming ones, compared to 5 years ago, where honestly, I would see the same people doing the same session 2 or 3 in a row, and it wasn't even very good to begin with. And now everyone is blowing me away. So it's enjoyable seeing that transition too.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, we got to go because we got to go announce next year's destination.
Which I'm excited for. Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate you supporting TBEX all these years just as an attendee. And if you just want to attend, that's totally cool. But if we ever can convince you to speak, we'd love to have you do it because you would give a great time.
I don't think you can. I think Eric has made his point.
And he knows what he wants. And he knows what he likes.
But my mind is open though. Like being here, like I'm totally open to going. This is impressive on levels that I was not expecting. So
I feel a door opening here.
Who knows?
All right,
Eric.
We shall see.
Baby steps, Eric.
And it's travelbabbo.com.
Correct.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, it was enjoyable, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Travel Matters, the official podcast of TBEX. This episode of Travel Matters was hosted by TBEX CEO Rick Calvert and Radio Vagabond Palabo and produced by radioguru.co.uk. See more about upcoming TBEX events on tbexcon.com. You can follow Palabo on theradiovagabond.com.